From Washington, D.C., this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Hena Zuberi. Our top story tonight. Israeli attacks have killed nearly 100 people in Gaza in the past 24 hours, according to the Palestinian Health Ministry. Al Jazeera reports that an Israeli airstrike targeting a UN refugee agency aid distribution center in the city of Rafah in southern Gaza killed 4 people. Palestinian journalists have shared footage documenting people bringing in victims of an Israeli bombing in central Rafah to the Kuwaiti hospital. Israeli forces also conducted raids in the West Bank, killing at least 4 Palestinians, including 2 minors, and the destruction of infrastructure. In a separate incident west of Jerusalem, in the town of Al-Jib, at least 2 other Palestinians were killed and 3 others injured. They were shot by Israeli forces at a checkpoint late Tuesday, the Palestinian Red Crescent reports. Israeli forces also killed a 15-year-old accused of carrying out a stabbing attack at a Jerusalem checkpoint. In a joint statement, 25 human rights and humanitarian organizations operating in Gaza have urged for unhindered humanitarian access throughout all land crossings. Hezbollah says 2 of its fighters were killed after Israel launched attacks deep inside Lebanon for a second consecutive day. At least 31,272 Palestinians have been killed and 72,024 injured in Israeli attacks on Gaza since October 7th. The revised death toll in Israel from the October 7th attack stands at 1,139. Palestinians escaping Israel's ongoing violence in Gaza through the Rafah crossing are being forced to pay exorbitant fees imposed by Egyptian authorities. Hena, a state-linked Egyptian company, is allegedly monopolizing this exit route, charging up to $15,000 per person, which are being labeled as travel coordination fees. Recently, a Facebook page affiliated with the travel agency advertised lower prices, yet still unaffordable for many. Speaking to UK-based media outlet Middle East Eye, Palestinian Zain Ali said he's paid $12,000 for his wife and $1,000 for each child to fast-track the service. According to American media outlet The Intercept, families like Ala Shatila were forced to pay exorbitant fees to secure passage out of the region. Shatila's family, having lost their home and business to airstrikes, paid a staggering $38,000 for 6 people. Families recount harrowing experiences of fleeing bombardment, with some paying up to $36,000 to escape. They say Egypt's restrictive measures are forcing many to seek alternatives, albeit costly routes. Official channels charge $1,200 per person, according to Egyptian nationals who has gone through this route. Although Ramadan is also a time for charity and helping people, those in need, Palestinians, especially children living under Israeli attacks and blockade, are struggling to find food. Hundreds of thousands of Muslims in the region are observing the fast amid hunger, poverty, and cold weather. Palestinians who left their homes and took shelter in refugee camps due to Israel's war are trying to survive. About 85% of Gazans have been displaced by the Israeli onslaught amid acute shortages of food, clean water, and medicine. As well, 60% of the enclave's infrastructure has been damaged or destroyed, according to the UN. Despite international public opinion voicing deep concern, Israel still has not allowed adequate commercial supplies and humanitarian aid to enter the region. Israel has imposed a crippling blockade on Gaza, leaving its people, particularly residents in the north, on the verge of starvation. Palestinian children say they wish to eat like before the war, including this boy in one of the refugee camps in Gaza.
ايش بتعمل؟
عم بتصحى بدنا ناكل نصور شلة زعتر الدكة فيش خلصت كمان الزعتر الدكة من وين نجيبها كده لقيتها شوفوا حل يا عم بس زعتر الدكة زعتر الدكة زعتر الدكة بدنا ناكل.
Pro-peace groups like the Jewish Voices of Peace, or JVP, have welcomed President Biden's recent push for a temporary Gaza ceasefire. They see it as a triumph of public influence on policy. JVP, an anti-Zionist organization, has rallied extensively for Palestinian rights. Organizer Esther Farmer condemns Israeli actions in Gaza as genocide, regarding the conflation of Judaism with Zionism.
No, not in our name. We were victims of genocide ourselves, and we are not going to allow the genocide of another people. That's not what it means to be Jewish. And so we will not let this genocide happen, and we do think it's genocide. We think that what the Israelis are doing is trying to eliminate the Palestinian people in Gaza. We went through a process several years ago. We were not always anti-Zionist. We didn't like what Israel was doing, but many people still had this feeling of, okay, we went through this genocide, Jews must be safe. And we went through a process where we really analyzed, well, does Israel really make Jews safe? And we came up with that it does not. And it can never, because as long as you are oppressing another people, how can you be safe?
JVP's efforts include extensive letter campaigns and challenging biased narratives. Ayaz Murtaglu, another JVP organizer, stresses the need for sustained U.S. pressure on Biden for a permanent ceasefire. He said the recent ceasefire call from the U.S. should offer encouragement, even if it's too late.
The first thing I want to say is that this is a genocide, and these are massacres that we're witnessing in Gaza every single day. And our government needs to listen to the people. This is not war, it's genocide. The Israeli government is starving people in Gaza and then shooting them down when they try to get food. These are massacres.
A group of Latino religious leaders in New York have joined other faith groups in demanding an urgent and permanent ceasefire in Gaza. Led by Reverend Samuel Cruz, they have condemned President Joe Biden and his administration's support for Israel, calling for an end to the Israeli occupation. The group says that the egregious human rights violations, war crimes, and atrocities in Gaza have compelled them to break their previous silence. American Muslim Today reports that despite previous hesitancy, recent strong statements and actions by Black leaders have inspired the Latino community to break their silence. That includes a statement by the organization Black Christian Faith Leaders for Ceasefire. The group issued a full-page ad in the New York Times to amplify their call for peace and draw attention to the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. Approximately 30,000 residents in the city are Latino. Bringing more news stories after the break. Stay tuned and we'll be right back. Welcome back. President Joe Biden has officially secured the Democratic presidential nomination. This is after winning in Georgia, which confirmed his position. The formal nomination will take place at the Democratic National Convention in Chicago this August. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is expected to clinch the Republican nomination by securing the necessary delegates this week. A group of Republicans has launched an initiative to make sure ex-President Donald Trump is not re-elected in November. Republican voters against Trump's $50 million campaign plans to showcase testimonial videos from Trump supporters sharing why they will not vote for him this time. Led by strategist Sarah Longwell, it will target moderate Republicans and swing state voters. She said expanding the anti-Trump coalition's influence could affect the election's outcome in 2024, potentially impacting Trump's return to the White House. It plans to use TV, streaming, billboards, radio, digital media to get its message across, particularly in battleground states like Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. The group used a similar strategy in 2020 to defeat Trump. Ex-President Donald Trump has promised he will free individuals imprisoned for attacking the Capitol building on January 6, 2021 upon returning to office. The prisoners face charges ranging from assault to seditious conspiracy. Critics have condemned Trump's stance. They highlight the potential danger of pardoning those involved in political violence. 3 states had sought to bar Trump from future ballots due to his role in the insurrection. But the Supreme Court ruled last week that the states cannot remove Trump from the ballot for this. Next month, the court will rule on whether Trump has presidential immunity in the January 6th case in Washington. As London's Muslim community observes Ramadan, concerns over safety have escalated due to a surge in Islamophobia, fueled by events such as Israel's war on Gaza. Recent break-ins at the mosques have intensified anxieties, prompting calls for increased security measures. Islamophobic incidents in the UK have tripled since Israel's aggression on Gaza began last October. That's according to Tell Mama, a national project which records and measures anti-Muslim incidents in the United Kingdom. Bibi Rabia Khan of the London Islamic Cultural Society is concerned about the trend, emphasizing the need for vigilance during Ramadan. She notes the targeting of CCTV systems and hard drives in recent mosque break-ins, suggesting a deliberate disruption during the holy month.
So we are worried about the rise in Islamophobia. We're worried for our children and our attendees at the mosques. During Ramadan, of course, it's going to be late. We also have a late night Tarawih, so that doesn't start until 12. We have to have the same security. We're working with our police to make sure that the mosques have surveillance and that it's regularly checked. Because during the time of Ramadan, there are 2 weeks when the children are on holiday as well in the Easter break. And so it means the volume of people that will be coming to mosques are much more than normal.
The community is calling for strict security measures, coordinating with police for surveillance and safety plans. Metropolitan Police have affirmed their collaboration with Muslim representatives to address concerns, deploying officers to ensure safety around faith institutions. Internally displaced Somalis have met the holy month of Ramadan without basic living needs in a tent city in capital Mogadishu. Hundreds of thousands of people left their homes in the East African country due to drought and the presence of the terrorist organization Al-Shabaab in the region. Somalis living in tent camps in Mogadishu are struggling to survive due to a lack of aid. Airbnb has prohibited indoor security cameras in rental places to protect people's privacy. The company had previously allowed them in common areas such as hallways, living rooms, as long as they were announced on the listing page before booking. In a statement, Airbnb said the update to this policy simplifies the approach and makes clear that security cameras are not allowed inside listings, regardless of their location. Head of Community Policy and Partnerships, Juniper Downs, says the goal is to create new, clear rules that provide the community with greater clarity about what to expect on Airbnb. Airbnb is on the BDS list. A group of Turkish female high school students have claimed top honors in the prestigious first robotics competition in New York. The Tektolia Robotics team win has paved their way to the World Championship. The group emerged as the sole all-female team to clinch the Impact Award in the competition, which was organized by FIRST, a global non-governmental organization focused on preparing youth for the future. The team is made up of students who attend Tenzil Erdogan Anatolian Imam Hatip High School, which is part of a chain of Islamic schools in Turkey. They're now gearing up to compete in the VEX Robotics World Championship scheduled to take place in Dallas next month. That's all from our Washington, D.C. studios tonight. Thank you for tuning in. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon for the latest updates. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV or visit muslimnetwork.tv. Assalamu alaikum and Ramadan Mubarak.